Hi Matt, say I promised you a video, so I thought I'd show you a video of the part that you sent me and the parts that I made, and there's a lot of similarities, so I think we're kind of doing things the same way. But yeah, I just want to go through this and just want to make sure that the assumptions I'm making here are correct. So let's go back to the base flange here in the part that you sent me, which is 32145-A. So the base flange, pretty simple. You have your sketch that defines all that. I like the idea of using symmetry in the middle of that sketch too, as you did, and allowed to sketch geometry in here in order to lay this out. So you do the same thing I do, just do a center rectangle here, put the definitions on them, and then you put your circles on the very ends of that in order to define where the holes are going to be. That works out pretty well. The only difference is I usually put my circles that would define the holes as a separate feature here, so it would be something different besides the base flange. Even though I probably would still use that same sketch geometry, I would use a different feature in here, just the the extruded cut feature, in order to put those holes in there. It gives you a little bit of flexibility too, so you can actually go in there and maybe delete the holes or put those holes in a different configuration, or other similar things. So then you put your edge flange in. That's pretty basic stuff, and then you have your extrude for the the louvers. And again, you do the same thing I do. We do a lot of sketch geometry in here, and then we lay this out. One thing I would do a little bit different is it appears that this is probably going to be in the middle. So I would make some reference geometry to the center of this, from an axis going along the y-axis. And then I would put in this dimension. Instead of having it being a defining dimension, I'd have it a driven dimension. And it would still be visible in the drawing, so then when somebody's trying to lay this out, they can lay it out from an edge, since they really can't measure from the center. But if the intent is to put it in the center, I would put it in the center too. But the end result is we end up getting the same thing. Hey, one thing I noticed too about this third cut in here, that you have a linear pattern in here. A lot of times these linear patterns are kind of tricky. You define it, but yet they're still blue. They can still be stretched. So one thing you need to do, and I think you did it here, you have a horizontal relationship between some of these elements, so it doesn't all stretch. But you notice if you take some of these blue lines over here, they do stretch a little bit. If you do Control Z, that gets you back to where you were before. But all you have to do is throw in a simple dimension in here, like maybe from this edge to that edge, which is one full cycle, and then put a green check mark on that. And yeah, that's certainly what that was all about, but it looks like it turned off my sketch relations, which is probably okay. But anyways, if you put that in there, I think it'll work out okay. Makes it all black, that way it doesn't stretch out on you sometime later. Let's see. And then you put in your features in here. You put your edge flange in here in the back in order to, I would assume, to put that other grill in there in order to provide ventilation or filtration. And then you put in your holes in here too. I do the same thing. One thing I would do, or one thing I do a little bit differently, is I would put in a sketch that would have all the holes in here, and that way you have one sketch that drives all the features that follow that sketch, or maybe just one feature that has all those holes in it. But the thing about that sketch is you have the capacity to go in there into that sketch in one location and be able to change some of the holes, because some of these holes will have relationship with other holes that are in there. It's nice seeing some sort of document, a sketch document, that would have all those relationships in there. Other than that, I think we pretty much do everything the same way. I asked yesterday about the hole wizard. It doesn't look like you use hole wizards. Some people don't like them because there's a lot of assumptions, and there's a lot of options to pick from, especially if your hole isn't exactly the way the whole feature wizard's going to be. But this works out just fine, just having those holes in it the way you have them. So that's it for this part. Next video I'll go ahead and cover the assembly I put together.